Greetings, brothers and sisters. I'm Professor Spira, and welcome to the Mucus-free Life LLC Meme Reel #1 2015. And been making memes for the past several years, and they're a real interesting way to convey information, especially on the social media side of things. And so I thought I'd do a little commentary here and talk about some of these and read some of them and that good stuff. If something is wrong with anyone, look first to the stomach. Indeed. And I love it when people share these, when they like them and share them, because it gets this information out to new audiences that can sort of be introduced to some of this, this higher level information, higher level learning. A piece about fasting here. And I try to find quotes that are substantive, that are not too long, too short. Some of them are a little long, but sometimes I can find a sentence that's really strong and get it over that way. Every sick person has a more or less mucus-clogged system, such mucus being derived from undigested, uneliminated, and unnatural food substances accumulated from childhood on. And such an important thing to understand, to really understand our condition, that we cannot heal ourselves in a day or two. It's going to take a minute. Mucusless Diet Healing System is a combination of individually advised long or short-term fasts with progressively changing menus of non-mucus forming foods. Now, the way this goes, I'm going to have a series of Arnold Ehret quotes, and then I have some Professor Spira quotes, Brother Ehret quotes. Then there's some sort of back to nature themed memes, and then finally there's some funny ones toward the end. And of course, air baths and enemas could save a lot of lives of folks, as opposed to chemotherapies and a lot of unnecessary surgery, and just a lot of pain and suffering that is not necessary. We still have to pay reparations, so going through the fire of healing is not always going to be pleasant, but we have to put it in the context. This is important. When whatever cannot be conceived of at once through simple reasoning is humbug and not science, no matter how scientific it may sound. And like I said before, a lot of the folks in the Mucusless Diet camp coming through us, these are people that know how to reason, know how to analyze things for themselves. Talking here, the air gas engine principle, probably one of the most important lessons that Ehret had to teach, was a way to reconceive and re-understand the human body and how it operates. This again about decades-old chronic disease can't be healed with a very long fast, radical extreme fruit diets, etc. Nature's meals, grind slow but sure. And that's a lesson that there's a lot of folks need, that I'm seeing out there, that's really trying to push themselves, trying to heal themselves. They want to heal, but we have to be gentle with ourselves in terms of being able to take a step back when we need to, and being able to get more aggressive when we need to. And I think the Mucusless Diet, more so than any other system, really teaches a person how to be able to do that. And that's an important one. Kind of went by there. This one is important. All fats are acid forming, even those of vegetable origin, and are not used by the body. You will crave, and use them only as long as you can still see mucus in the magic mirror, meaning just seeing globs of slime on your tongue when you stick your tongue out. For more on the magic mirror, consult the Mucusless Diet Healing System. Now we're to the Professor Spira quotes, and as far as plant-based diets are concerned, the Mucusless Diet Healing System is the vanguard. I know of no other diet that goes beyond where it can potentially be taken And that is the truth. I don't know anything that goes beyond your body is an air gas engine. Just meditate on that. Think about that. What is the potential of the human organism? We don't even have a clue. Free yourself from the cave of constipation and be a beacon of life for others who desire freedom. Physiological freedom is at hand. Dispense with the culture of death and embrace a reality of life free from the impediments of mucus eating. And that quote's from the very end, toward the end of Spira Speaks, Dialogues and Essays on the Mucusless Diet Healing System. And it's kind of like that quote, if I do say so myself. Imagine a world free of pain, suffering, sickness, and disease. Take a breath and give thanks for the opportunity to cleanse, heal, and liberate oneself. Indeed. And yeah, that's where we're at. We were really serious about physiological liberation and understand that it's not an easy path. And I never try to make it seem like it's gonna be easy. What I think is that there's easier ways to do it where you're not resisting it. What I see with a lot of people is they try to resist the mechanics and the dynamics of the transition diet because they want to try to invent something in their head of what they want to do, as opposed to learning how to read their body and really doing what their body sort of needs them to do. Arnold Ehret's message is needed now more than ever. In order to heal the world, we must first heal ourselves. It is time for humans to rise up from our long slumber and return home to Mother Nature. And that's important, man. That was really a lesson that was taught to me from Brother Ehret, and I've tried to own it as much as possible. So when I do put information out there and try to help other people, I always make sure that I'm dealing with myself first. I got to, because I'm not gonna be able to help anybody if I'm down for the count. And at the same time, I get a lot of inspiration from helping people, so it becomes it becomes kind of like a battery, recharges itself. It goes, Brother Ehret, why is it that in the raw foods, vegan, vegetarian, fasting community, they don't want to give Arnold Ehret his due? We Ehretists know what you are trying to unsuccessfully do. This was a quote that Brother Ehret put in the Arnold Ehret support Facebook forum, and I thought it was kind of good, because that's right. A lot of people don't want to deal with Ehret, but they want to use bits and pieces of his stuff, and they read his books, but then they don't tip their hat to him because is a little bit too potent. They don't want to get behind some of what he has to say. You can't complain about your oppressors when you eat and live just like them. It's a kind of a derivative of something I think Malcolm X said, but Brother Ehret kind of gives it new meaning in life, really by emphasizing the eating part, because everybody wants to go eat like, the 1%ers. Just how filthy and nasty can we get? And we're saying this is the opposite of what they're doing. So if you want to not be like your oppressor, then this is the path for you, without a doubt. Practicing Mucusless diet is the most revolutionary thing that you can do, and I agree with Brother Ehret on that one. If you really look at it, there's nothing else that you can do that's as diametrically opposed to the status quo, to the way things are supposed to be, than what we're doing. We're going along with nature. I'm speaking in terms of status quo, an oppressive society and system, the matrix as it were, based on people using other people to get themselves sick and fat and stimulated. I mean, that's what we're dealing with. We know a lot about being near death, but who is having a near life experience? That was a clever one. That's very true. Your body is an air gas engine, Brother Air. And, Brother Air is a bad dude. He really is serious about what he's trying to do physiologically, the ups and downs, and, been very successful. But watching him put things into perspective that, it's challenging. And it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of time, and a lot of not being willing to compromise. People ask me if I eat avocados. Why would I want to mess with a fruit that is like eating French fries? That is one of the most classic Brother Air quotes out there. And we get no love from some of the raw food folks that are really addicted to avocados. And like I say, if you want to eat them, be my guest. I don't care, but I'm not gonna say that they're not mucus forming. I'm not gonna act like that's part of the mucusless diet. This might be part of a raw food diet, but unless you're using it to transition. Look at the juice of a ripe blackberry, black cherry, or black grapes. Doesn't it almost resemble your blood? That's just some straight logic. I mean, we just looking at things in a very different, simplistic manner. The real giving tree. I saw this picture and I liked it because it reminded me of the book that I read, The Giving Tree. Growing up, I think I was Shel Silverstein, The Giving Tree. And that's the real one right here. I mean, we could set up a society, we could set up a community where everything is taken care of for us by Mother Nature as it was intended. But our addictions got the better of us, and we went off into some crazy slaughterhouse reality that has us stuck. We're trying to get up out of that. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I don't have time to read it. It's too much time has passed, but it gets into this concept that Ehret gets into in the more philosophical side of things, where he's saying, there's nobody that's really the product of true love vibrations. And it's more about stimulation. And nature alone is the teacher of a standard science of truth. And so you're going to get into some nature quotes here with some beautiful. I just love nature. I just love being out there, and it's all for me. It's about returning back to nature, because once I really leave, like once I go out there, I mean, that's going to be it for the social media and all that. There's going to come a time when I'm ready to truly go back to nature, and it's going to be curtains. It's going to be like, I hope all this information is out there, because I want to, go bury myself in some beautiful marsh somewhere with an apple tree or a pineapple tree, whatever, some lemons around. And that shows you why that we are a tropical species. Why would when people talk about a paradise, normally we think of like a tropical environment. When we say paradise, for most people, we don't think of Antarctica. That's not, paradise. There's a few people that like Antarctica like that in these cold places, but for the most part, paradise is always characterized by its tropical environment. There's a reason for that. That's our home. We're from there, and we need to go back there if we want to really be happy and healthy and learn how to get off of the unnatural stimulants. Mother Nature's operating table. Most definitely. Now, we're getting closer to the funny ones here, but here's, since humans degenerated through civilization, they no longer know what to do when they become sick. And gentleman's got his little pill bottle there at work. Supposed to rest, and that's another thing with society. It doesn't give you that chance oftentimes. Like, you have to make the situation happen where you can take the time to rest, because it's not built into, especially the United States society, sick time. If you have a baby, somebody dies, there's other places around the world where you get time off. When somebody dies, you might get 9 months or something off to grieve. Or if you get sick or you have a baby, you have a couple years off. The man and the woman, it's just, United States is so backwards, and so just this authoritarian, sort of state of, just this corporatocracy and this capitalistic, just on steroids. What if avocados were mucus farming? That's just one of those. These are like these little funny memes. I use a little meme generator, trying to look for some funny pictures and see what messages came to mind. And these are going to go by a little quicker, but constipation can be an ugly thing. That just looks like one of the most constipated men in America right here. This dude is like, settle down, dude, man. Doing enema, dog. Doing enema, drink some juice. Man. But that's what people like. That's what people want to be like him. They want to watch him. And why do people avoid Ehret's transition diet? That's a great question. I have no clue. People do not, in general, for some reason, don't want to transition. And I just found out that rice is mucus forming. Yes, even brown. Sorry. Yeah, rice. Every once in a while I get that. When people are, they're really hooked on rice and they can't, they just can't believe that it's not healthy. Still binging? Just eat a cooked mucus-free meal. You haven't been raw that long. This could have went in a couple directions. I was thinking, still binging? Just eat a cooked mucus-free meal already. Sheesh. And that just goes out to some of the folks that are like ODing on avocados, but they won't eat a cooked meal. Transition. Ah. Kind of funny. Matthew had posted this up, and then I added this. Truth happens, kind of a play on the S word happens. Thought truth happens was a little bit more up my alley. What if I told you that all mucus-forming foods create illness? There's a handful of people that like to call me Morpheus, which is it's funny. Is milk mucus forming? What do you think? Slap. Batman, is milk mucus forming? What do you think? 8 mucus forming foods needs enema. That face. A picture is worth 1,000 words. 8 mucus forming food needs enema. I think it's pretty clear. I don't think I'd explain that one. Mom, can we have pus pillows for lunch? Any of you guys remember that? Those little what are those called? I forget what they're called. Pizza pus pillows. Whatever those little toast pizza rolls. That's what it was. Those things were actually kind of nasty. If you still drink pus, you're gonna have a bad time. The guy from South Park, that was his line, "You're gonna have a bad time." And so, basic. I thought it was funny. I really need an enema. Yeah, poor guy. He doesn't feel good. He just needs an enema. Oh. You're sick, but still eating mucus-forming foods? Yeah, that laugh. This is one of those memes that's going around a lot. With just him laughing at whatever. I thought that was straightforward, but still funny. We have 15 plus pounds of uneliminated feces and mucus inside us, making us sick? We're invincible. We're just nasty, and we can be powerful and run things. Y'all got any more of those avocados? Yeah. I don't think I have to explain this one. You guys know what time it is. So that is it. That's all for this installment. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me, and I'll talk to you later. Peace, love, and breath.